What's up, YouTube? Hitting y'all up with another video, and this video is going to be my take on Earthlings, the documentary. Um, you think you know it all when it comes to animals and how our meat is made, how the jackets are made. You think the stereotypical way of how people tell you how these things are done, so you don't think there's any harm done. Like, you think everything's just going to be peaceful, and we believe the word that people tell us. you know this documentary opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I had no clue about. I mean, I know cows have it bad, but I didn't know they had it that bad. And then on top of that, even before this documentary came out, I've always had some kind of guilt every time I passed up farms, because I live around a bunch of farms. Every time I see those cows, like when I go on my bike rides and I ride past the cows, and I think, what if I was in their shoes? I wouldn't get to live out my whole life. I wouldn't get to experience family. I wouldn't get to experience love. The documentary wakes you up and actually puts you in their shoes and what they're going through. Granted, that they are comparing it to the Holocaust, which it kind of is, but it's not. We're basically, taking advantage of, things that can't, not things, animals that can't comprehend with the intelligence that we have, and we're taking advantage of this. I've always, like, no joke, I save lives when I can, man. That might sound silly to you, man, but like, if I see a bug or some kind of an insect, I don't kill it. I've been doing that for years, and it's done nothing but good for me. And I overcome my fear of some stuff. Like, I used to be scared of spiders, man. Like, afraid, man. Ever since I started saving, when I read about what spiders stood for, it gave me a whole perspective on them, because I was ignorant on the matter of spiders. I just was scared of them. I thought they all were poisonous, pretty much. And really, spiders do so much good, So I try to save as many lives as I can. Animals, insects, mostly insects. I don't really see many animals in danger around me, But, you watch that video, man, and it really, I'm not gonna lie, I cried in that documentary. I cried it a few times. For me, it felt like I was watching a snuff film, basically. And as I'm watching that, I'm putting myself in these animals' shoes, and I'm thinking, wow, this is torture. This is wrong. I've always thought of that. I always thought that stuff was torture, but I did not know it went through links like that. Like the guy beating the shit out of a pig. Like, dude, does that make you feel fucking powerful or some shit, dude? Like, come on. The way they debeak those chickens, I had no clue this is how this shit went. I always was ignorant on these subjects, in a way. I didn't know it went to those lengths to get our food industry done. The dairy cows really had me shooken up. I'm sitting in my coffee shop, and all I can think about is those dairy cows. About how, they... Dude, I was always told dairy cows have such a pampered life because they give our milk. That video was horrible on the dairy cows. Some of them, they put antibiotics and all this shit to overproduce the milk. They get no breaks, no nothing. They're constantly working. All these animals are constantly working, man. The dairy cows end up dying because of overuse, low energy. They can't do anything. They're strapped up to a fucking bin, and that's it. That's their life. Could you imagine if that was your life, man? Could you imagine? Now, I know comparing this to the Holocaust is, another length, because what the Holocaust was taking over someone else who is the same smarts as you, basically. But we're taking it to whole nother lengths, man. Like, this is fucked up. Most of the shit that was in that video was so inhumane. And like the guy said, slaughterhouses, if they had windows, most people probably wouldn't even eat it. It's literally like watching a snuff film. And I recommend everyone who lives in America, who lives in this world today, to watch that documentary and see how powerful that is. I mean, it really woke me up. Basically my life, man, I live on fucking carbs. I hardly ever eat meat, but every now and then, I crave meat, you know. You know why your body craves meat when you stand so long away from it? This is gonna blow your mind, but your body has a tapeworm. There's a pork tapeworm, there's a chicken tapeworm, and there is a beef tapeworm that is in your body. And the only way to get rid of it's like fighting a nick fit, basically. It's like getting rid of cigarettes, man. It's the hardest thing to do. There's been when I first started, just downing carbs, man. Just carbs and vegetables and shit, man. I went a whole year with it, man. That's all I fucking ate. Around summer, I got sick of carbs, and I was craving burgers. Burgers every week, man. That's the tapeworm, man. You can't it's hard to get rid of it, but the only way to get rid of it is greens, man. That's the only way to get rid of it. I know I blow your mind with that, but it's true. You can look it up. You can't get rid of it. I mean, you can get rid of it. There's been people who've gotten rid of it. And it's a scary thing to know that that's in you. And another thing with the meat production, it's not what it once was. GMOs are fucking everybody up. GMOs, it's been proven that it's increasing allergies like hell. And me, I work around meat all day. That could be why shit, when I'm, hungry and, I don't want to eat, carbs, I'll, throw on a half chicken on the grill or some shit. The half chickens at my work are fucking huge. GMOs. The medicine stuff really irked me. And that they cage these wild animals, man. And they get the cage disease where they're just running in circles. Just put yourself in those shoes, man. How would you feel if that was your whole entire life? In a cage. You can't move anywhere. You can't go nowhere. You're a prisoner, pretty much. This documentary was fucking powerful as hell. And I'll tell you what, man, I'm gonna eat way more carbs. Way more carbs. Like, even when I was drinking my coffee today, man, I kept seeing the eyes on that cow. That cow died, and then hearing that their meat is for fast food, those dying cows who died an unnatural death goes to the fast food. How does that sound that you are eating that? How does that sound that you are eating this unnatural death meat? Do you know what happens when you're malnourished with a bunch of stuff? Even overindulging it can make it bad. And putting in all these antibiotics and all these hormones and shit, what do you think that's doing to the meat? Now, there is an easier way, but there's the way you can do this and it not be so gruesome. Why not let the cows live their full life? When they're close to their deathbed, take them out. You know why? Because demand. Meat is in demand. Meat is in demand. They want to stay above the demand. so they can always have income. Now, I will admit, when I first got into, my job that I'm in right now, I work around pork. I wanted to know what I'm working with, how these meats, how the pork is, done. I didn't want to watch cows, and because I don't work with beef, and I already knew cows was bad. Call me ignorant. I didn't want to click the video because I didn't work with cow. I worked with pork. Now I clicked one, and they made the video. It looked really organized. The pigs weren't squealing a lot and all that stuff, but something tells me that was just a local pig place or something. Just a small local owned business for pigs. Something. Now the main producer, the pigs are in cannibal. They cut their ears off. They cut their tail off to prevent cannibalism. They take out all their teeth so they don't eat each other. The pigs are prisoned where they go to those routes where they're going to cannibalize, How would you feel if you were those pigs, man? Getting your ears cut off, getting your tails pulled off. I mean, dude, I really look down on humanity even more than I already did. It's a low blow right here. And then hearing the immaturity of the people that are, in the position of our meat industry, they're psychopaths. One of the guys got pissed because the pig was not moving out of its cage. So you know what he did? He got on top of the pig and just started wailing on the pig, calling it a motherfucker, blah blah blah, cussing at the pig, kicking the pig. Like, dude, if you watch this documentary, dude, it'll change your viewpoints on things. But you know what? A lot of people are going to turn away from the documentary. And I will tell you this, man. I went to work and I recommended it to my friend. And I recommended it to another couple workers. I want everyone to know what they're getting into. Everyone should be knowledgeable of this stuff. Because you know what? It's just going to get worse. People say that, the animals don't have feelings and stuff, but I know that they have feelings. Hell, there's a guy that was on Oprah who had a pet grizzly bear. The grizzly bear loved him, and it cried when he would rub his belly because he was so happy. They're no different than us. They mainly just go by instinct. They don't have intelligence to where they can communicate with us. But who knows, what if we didn't have this production going on for so many years? Who knows, maybe evolution, they would have slowly evolved in with the times. You never know these things. Everyone knows that, we somehow evolved from primates. No duh. But how are you not to know that if we didn't have this mass production of shit, how do you know another species wouldn't have evolved? We can't. They're caged. They live to die. I mean, we all live to die, but we get to live out our whole life. But they don't. They don't have a voice. You look at those animals in those cages, and they look so sad and depressed. And they're freaking out. They're paranoid. The scientist labs. Oh my god. I don't know how people can do this. I understand that they're trying to find different cures for things, but man, we already got cures. Why do we have to better it? Why do we have to better this? It's only getting worse and worse. And I have a feeling if it's not stopped, it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. And if one day the animals evolve, and I mean, look at it like this, man. Elephants already genetically hate humans. You know why? Evolution. Elephants have been through so much torture that it is genetically bound that they hate humans. Who are you to say that, one day these animals won't, how do you know they won't rise? How do you know they won't get their revenge? Sure, they're being mistreated now, but it's only going to get worse in the future. And you can't say that it won't. There's been times where, on different subjects, where things have gotten worse over time, correct? And look at it now. GMOs, drugging. These animals go through fucking torture, and it's just worse. Back in the day, we didn't have GMOs. We didn't have that shit in the meat. But look at how it has advanced. Look at all the shit we are putting in our meat. Look at that shit. And you know what's the big rage? Organic. Organic this. Organic that. Ask yourself if that shit's really organic. I bet you a lot of it's not. It's just organic. It doesn't even have to be approved. Anyone can put organic on shit. But back then, back in 50s, 90s, we didn't have GMOs. We didn't have that shit. Most likely it was being tested. Well, now we're putting more stuff in the meat, making everything bigger. Because bigger is better. You know what's sad? Countries won't accept our meat because we have GMOs in our meat. GMOs are not even allowed in other countries. There's a bunch of things that aren't allowed in other countries that are allowed here. Ciprofloxacin, for example, that's banned in other countries. But you know what? That antibiotic gets prescribed here for a lot of things. There's a bunch of things that are banned in other countries that's not banned here. And then you know what else? Whenever the scientists test so much things on the animals, they test it out on us. Because they got somewhat of a good answer from the animals, but they want to test it out on us. Those people who constantly go to the hospital, who are constantly at the doctor's office, they're pretty much lab rats. Oh, this antibiotic didn't work for you. Here, try this. Oh, this antibiotic wasn't good for you. Here, try this. You're their lab rat. Most likely those files and everything that they got off of you goes to someone else. That's a no-brainer. All the doctors are connected somewhere. Everything's connected somewhere. Money is connected somewhere. Every doctor you go to has a higher power within the chain. And if you don't see that, well then you're dumb, because you don't see how money works in this civilization. I didn't choose to be brought up like this. This is how I thought life was. Eat meat, I was raised that way. After seeing that documentary, it really opened my eyes on things. And I've been telling my friend a lot of times when I move out, I really want to get into a plant-based diet. Well, I was wanting to do plant and fish, which I think that would be a easier alternative to slowly progress off. Fish is so good for you, but you look at that video, all the dumpings in the ocean, and you're eating that fish. I don't want to spoil the documentary too much, but this documentary has really opened my eyes. And I know it can open up a bunch of other people's eyes too, if people just get out of this ignorance they have and not wanting to see what's really happening out there. You know why they don't want to see what's really happening out there? Because they enjoy the food too much. Oh, I don't want to see how that's made. I love it too much. What kind of an excuse is that? That's the most ignorant excuse ever, but everyone uses it. Me, on the other hand, I love philosophy. I love seeing how things in the world are. I love seeing everyone's perspective on things. When I finally got the chance to look into this documentary, because I heard the reviews on it, I forced myself to watch it. The documentary is 1 hour and 35 minutes, but man, it felt like forever because I was forcing myself to watch this. But my mind told me to turn away. My mind told me to close out. My mind told me to fast forward. You know why? Because I was brought up to enjoy these foods. I really can't enjoy eating it now after seeing what those animals go for, man. Is it really worth it? Could you imagine being in a world where you are caged, where you're only used for your meat, where you're over indulged in medicine and things that to make your hormones and stuff overact to give you more energy, pretty much using your body as a machine, basically? That's what we are using these things. Everything can be synthetically made now. We are so advanced now, we don't need real leather. We can make synthetic leather. We can make things that look like these things, but yet we still choose to murder these innocent animals and stuff and cage these animals that were born in the wild, caging them, giving these diseases where they're scared of the cage, where they run around in circles in the cage, when we can synthetically make these things. It doesn't have to be real. Why do people want everything to be real? How would you like it if, and like, whenever I saw them skin that seal and it was alive, dude, I bawled. I could not imagine being skinned alive and dropped on the ground. Your skin is there to protect you. It's a form of abuse that these slaughterhouses go for, and no one's doing anything about it. You may call me crazy. You may say I'm crazy. And the way those elephants were treated in the circus, that was just... And every single person in these professions, pretty much psychopaths. The people who own the industry aren't doing any of it, though. It's the workers. We have machines built to take life just to feed us. Now, I would understand if, we have hunters. Why can't we just let the animals live free and, just hunt? At least it would give the animals time to run. Well, we can't even do that. We have to cage them, imprison them. All I'm gonna say is it's just gonna get worse over the years. Once GMOs were approved, I even started questioning my meat. That's why I went with carbs instead. I will down carbs all day. I hardly will touch meat. I would choose carbs over meat any day. I know you need your protein and stuff, but I take powder form of protein anyway. See, and that's another thing. Most of these things can be made scientifically in powder form. There's even a diet where they have everything you need in your body to live in powder form. We are so intelligent. Why are we still doing this abuse? Why are we still making things even worse for these animals? As if back in the day wasn't bad enough. Bringing in more machinery to make the kill less painful, but yet you look at these machines and they look horrible. throwing live dogs into a trash truck, letting them get ground up. These are living things. They have a life just like you. They have a family just like you. Animals know how to love. I see it all the time. But yet we choose to imprison them. We're smarter than this. Way smarter than this. But yet we choose to stay ignorant. We can easily make alternatives of these things, but yet we choose not to. You may say, this guy's just making a video, he sounds like a wacko. But really, I'm just letting my voice be heard on the matter. And I recommend everyone watch this documentary, as it will open your eyes as it did mine. Hell, it even opened my friend's eyes. And we were brought up like this. Just like with religion, you're brought up in a religion. And it's hard to quit that religion, because that is all you know. It's going to be hard to give up meat, but it's all you know. There's alternatives of meat, but yet we still choose to do these acts. I don't mind hunting. Hunting is natural. The Indians even did it. But what we are doing is inhumane. And I'm just pointing it out. Most of my life, I've always stayed far away from this stuff, because you know why? I always heard my mom, you don't want to know how that's made. You don't want to know how that's made. Well, I wanted to know how it was made. I found videos of stuff, and I'm like, okay. But when you go more in depth in the situation, it's just worse, and it's just going to keep getting worse over the years. And how do you know this stuff is not going to come backfire on us? In that video, they ground up the same species of meat, then fed it back to them. Do you know that causes mad cow disease? Or mad whatever the fuck disease? And you were eating the meat. I can't look at things the same. All I see is that video. I can't even enjoy my coffee, because that's all I see is that video. People need to wake up, and they need to watch this documentary. I don't want to spoil it for everybody. This is just my rant on it. I'm going to put a link in the description. Hell, I'll put an annotation on the screen. Right about here. Go view it yourself. You listen to my 30-minute rant. Why don't you sit an hour and 35 minutes of that video? And ask yourself, why? Why? Why is this needed? We are more important than this. Eggplants, if the eggplants are cooked right, do you know that they taste exactly like meat? You know how I know? I've tried an eggplant, and I didn't even know it was an eggplant at first. I was like, what kind of meat is this? It's really good. Oh, that's an eggplant. I had no idea. We have alternatives for everything in that video. We already have medication that's done miracles before antibiotics. Ask yourself, why are antibiotics being so glorified if they do so much wrong in our system? Why is medication getting worse? Ask yourself all these things. Because you never know, it might be too late. Things are only going to get better over the years. But all I am is just a voice. I just want my voice to be heard of the matter. Go check out the video. I'm going to put an annotation right here. Peace.